First book. Finally done. With my expert knowledge of knowing how to use a printer, I've officially immortalized my work in ink. Can't wait to see it on shelves. Hey, what are you up to? Oh, first manuscript? Wish I could tell him. Wait a minute, this is a metaphor. I can do whatever I want. Sorry, kid. And just hold on a sec. What are you doing? But I'm a writing genius. Yeah. Give it a couple years. You'll be decent, and you'll thank me for this. We all wish we could jump back through time and slap some sense into our younger selves every once in a while. It's called regret. Unfortunately, real life isn't a metaphor, and we can't do that. What we can do is the next best thing. Taking the experience we've had and using it to advise people who are in the same boat now that we were when we were younger. That's what this video is going to be all about. Using my experience as a writer to help people who are now just becoming writers. It was a long, winding journey for me to get from where I started to where I am now. I am wise enough to know the journey is far from over. Tip number 1. Don't set the bar way too high for yourself when you first start. This is coming from me. I've been intoxicated with writing since I was 8 years old. The second I had my own notebooks and crayons, I was writing stories in them. Now that's not supposed to sound super impressive because those stories were shit. And that's okay. I was 8 years old. And that's the point I'm trying to communicate to all new writers out there. When you first pick up a pen and paper and you start writing a story, don't expect it to be the best thing anyone's ever read. It's just not realistic, and you're only going to beat yourself up about it. Strive to improve, not be perfect, because when you start, you're not going to be. And that's okay. That's pretty much everything in life. When you're a beginner, you're going to operate at a beginning level. Don't compare yourself to the greats, Stephen King, Dean Koontz, J.K. Rowling. You're not them. You just started. And you know what? When they first started, I'm pretty sure they weren't that great either. Nobody is a natural-born writer. You may be born with the drive to writing, like myself, but that didn't make me a great writer. And that's something that took me a long time to figure out. You're gonna share your work with people, and they're gonna read it, and when they tell you it's not that great, it's going to devastate you, because you were holding yourself way up here. In reality, you're just starting. You should be somewhere way beneath where the camera can see right now. I know better than most that this is not easy to accept, because I wrote for fun, just because I loved it, for years before I came around to accepting the fact that I wasn't that great of a writer. Sure, I came up with great stories, but I just didn't have the delivery, didn't have the writing skill, and I wasn't willing to learn because I thought I was too good. So, as a sign of good faith to everyone watching, I'm going to read a short, terrible sample of something that I once thought was groundbreaking. Shadow 41. Who will face the Reaper? The figures are silent. The green, blue, and black-jacketed man retreat into their quarters for counsel. The child's brother walked off with weapon in hand. The dark world will soon cross over. A fist soars down the hallway. There is a boy standing there. He goes by Dream. Reen and Rai rush in as Dream took the punch hard. You having as much trouble following along as I am? There was tense confusion, name soup, and probably about the rest of my hand's worth of crimes of writing committed in that first paragraph. And I thought it was great. If I had just accepted at the time that I was so new to this and I really should develop some more skill before I start printing out my stories to show to people, I would have saved myself a lot of embarrassment and adult shame. Hopefully after tip number 1, you've accepted that you're a beginner. You need to learn. That brings us to tip number 2. Learn from everyone and everything. There's only one simple thing you need to do in order to do this. If you can do this, your life as a writer will be so much easier. Locate your pride, wherever you store it. That's right. Now you've chosen to be a writer, you won't be needing that anymore. Walk outside with your pride and locate a large rock. Make sure to bring some thread with you to bind your pride to the rock. Your next job is going to be to find the deepest well possible and toss your rock along with your pride into that well. Make sure it's deep enough that you can't possibly retrieve it. There you go. So much better. Now you won't get so offended when everyone you share your work with tells you what's wrong with it. Like they're some kind of expert on the topic. Like they know so much better than you. Wait a second. Knew it. Not a deep enough well. Seriously though, you gotta get rid of it if you want to be a writer. People don't tend to think of it this way, but as a writer, you are an artist. And when you're an artist of any kind, you're making a living putting your soul on display. Like it or not, the people you share it with are your audience. Those are the ones that are going to be reading the book. That's why you need to share your book with everyone and be willing to learn from what they have to tell you. You don't have to take everybody's critique to heart, but if more than one person is telling you that that one line you thought was so poetic is really hard to understand, you should probably consider revising it. Also, beta readers are a necessity. What are beta readers?
Quite shallow and pedantic.
Not quite, but you're going to find out in tip number 3. Tip number 3, recruit help, including beta readers. The old adage that writing is a solitary profession is only half true. While it is rather unlikely you'll find a group of writers at a powwow between getting maniacally involved in their own fictional worlds, you will have to recruit help from readers. This can be friends, this can be family, this can be strangers on the internet, or a group of old ladies at a writing group at your local library. It doesn't matter who it is that you choose to share your work with, but you have to share your work with people you trust. These are beta readers, people who you share your work with before it's published to read it over and tell you what they think. Either grammatically, story-wise, your sentence structure, your style, anything. The people you trust to give you honest feedback about your work before it's been published are beta readers, and you need them. Mom's not a big reader? Probably shouldn't use her. Dad is really inarticulate in his reviews? Not him. Your friends aren't super supportive of your writing lifestyle choices? Don't use them either. It has to be people who are going to give you honest feedback, good and bad, things that are going to help you improve the writing. To put into perspective how important this is, surprise, when I was a new writer, I never did this. Just above us, an adventure is about to take place, 2,000 years from now, after a nuclear holocaust. All apocalypse rained down on the human race. The nuclear waste infected the water, poisoned most foods. However, the worst was yet to come. I'm sorry, did you guys want more spoon-fed to you, or are you choking already? Even the best sellers still use beta readers, at least most of them. It's a great way to test the waters, to see if you're going in the right direction with your style and your story. And if you don't use beta readers, you might end up with a passage like the one we just read from an author who remains to be named. Tip number 4, motivate yourself. I can't tell you how important this one is, and I'm a little ashamed to admit that I failed to do this at a point in my life, but everyone will. It was around college time, and everyone in my family was pushing me to pursue the traditional route of college, to pick a career. I won't even go into how sick it is here that high schoolers are pretty much forced to pick a career and not take the time to explore their passions before they pick something. I was coerced by counselors and teachers and family who thought that I just needed a stable career to go into teaching because I was good with kids. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed teaching and I like kids, but after a while, not writing started to kill me. I wavered in my belief because of the things other people said, and I shouldn't have. I should have stood by my dream of writing. Eventually, I ended up quitting teaching to be a full-time writer anyways, and make videos like this to help people come to the same realizations. This is going to happen to everyone in one shape or another along the journey. Other people are going to put you down, or you're going to put yourself down. Remember, you're just starting. You're not going to be the best, and there's going to be pitfalls along the way. You're going to have issues where your ebooks don't sell, or you can't find a publisher. Everyone's rejecting your query letters. I can't tell you how sick you'll get of format rejection letters from agents. Oh. So, who's going to motivate you when you get that 5th rejection letter in a week? Or when you realize you have to trash an entire draft you poured your heart and soul into because you used way too many adverbs? Or when your beta readers absolutely hate what you did with the main character's love interest? Who's going to motivate you then? Give you a hint. It starts with Y, and it ends with me telling you that it's you. You have to motivate yourself. Because if you're not going to, I can guarantee you that no one's going to be there to do it all the time. Imagine if you had to pat your mom on the back every day before she went to work and told her, you can do this. That's what you're expecting other people to do for you. It's not really realistic. You've got to learn how to fall down, scrape your knees, rub some dirt and vinegar in it, get up, and start walking again. That's the only way you're going to make it as a writer. Motivate yourself. Besides, those agents that rejected you, just plan them into a character for one of your new plots. One of the antagonists that dies really terribly. Another day at the office. Denying dreams and destroying authors. A letter for me. Your masterpiece could have been written better by my golden... Don't let rejections get you down, because as much as they sting, each one is going to make you better. I'll tell you from experience, it's true. You make a truly good story through grit and practice. Hang in there, start another draft, and you'll get there too. Tip number 5. Writing is a super weird profession. Get ready for it now. Whatever you think writing is going to be like, unless you've already been a writer for a living or known someone who has, chances are you're going to pull back the curtain and find that it's not what you expected. Jake! As you saw earlier in the video, I've been writing for a really long time. I thought I knew what it was, but when I was actually ready to take the plunge, step away from any other kind of employment and find out what it was really like to write for a living, I was in for a lot of surprises. If you're curious to see what being a writer is really like, at least in my experience, you should check out my other video, what it's really like to be a writer. You're gonna end up doing a lot of really odd, tedious jobs that don't feel like they have much to do with what you pictured writing was, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do them. Opening yourself up to new genres and experiences is a great way to build your writing skill. When I first became a ghostwriter, I kind of incorporated romance as a subplot into almost all my books, but then I joined a romancing ghostwriting company. I learned a ton of things about romance. I'm even not afraid to make it a little steamy in here now. I used to dance around it like a prude before. Writing as a career is a lot of research, it's a lot of marketing, it's a lot of things you just aren't probably going to expect unless you've seen behind the curtain already before. So get ready for that now, brace for impact, and you'll do just fine. Look at me. I ran headfirst into it, stumbled, skidded my face 5 yards across the field, got up, and look at how good I look now. Hey, I just finished revising this draft. Would you mind reading it for me? Letting me know what you think? There you have it, guys. 5 tips about writing that I wish I had heard when I first started. Do yourself a favor, don't be a chud like younger me, and listen to the people around you, and especially the people who have gone before you. You do that, keep an open mind, be willing to learn, and you'll do just fine. Wish I could go back in time and give this advice to younger me, but I'm giving it to you instead. Do with it what you will, but I hope you listen to it. It really will help you. If you like this video, subscribe to The Roadside Writer for other fun writing help. I've got tutorials, recipes, writing crimes, all kinds of fun stuff, and there's more on the way. So hit the bell if you don't want to miss it. Roadside Writer, out.